Welcome, Algebra 1. This is section 5.3, Slope-Intercept Form. The essential question is, why do we call it Slope-Intercept Form? Let's begin. First thing, what's a linear equation? Equations that form a line when graphed. And we've done this before. They can look like any one of these four cases or any kind of line. That's a linear equation. So this unit, we're going to talk about the different ways you can write linear equations. And three main ones are slope-intercept, point slope, and standard form. This lesson is going to be on slope-intercept form. But first, before we talk about how to graph that, let's talk about what slope really is. So slope, the official definition, is a ratio of how the line changes. And when I say ratio, I mean a fraction, like some number a over some number b. Now the formula for slope, and we did this a little bit last week, where we were talking about how the points change. So the slope equals the change of y divided by the change of x. Or as we said last time, how much you move up and down over how much you move to the right. Another way you'll see this written is rise over run. Graphing a slope. Graph with a slope. So we have a line right here, and we have 2 points. Now the slope of this line is going up 2 units and right 2 units. So the change of y is up 2, so it's positive 2. And the change of x is going to the right 3, so it's 3 down here. So the slope is 2/3. Now, to find the slope between 2 points. So this is going to come up. We want to find the slope between 2 points. And slope is the rise over run. And if I have these 2 points, I want to find the slope of a line that goes through those 2 points. Just like this. I can say the rise over run. So the rise means how much you're moving up or down. In this case, I'm moving down 3. So that's a -3. And then I'm going to go over to the right 2. So that slope is going to be -3 because that's going 3 down, and 2 because I'm going 2 to the right. Now, what if they're not graphed? We don't have to graph the points to always figure out the slope. Because the slope, another way to say this, is it's the change of y over change of x. So basically, how much does the y change divided by how much does the x change? So I have these 2 points right here, 0, 2, and 2, -1. So to write the slope, from the left ordered pair to the right ordered pair. So you're starting on this one, you're going to the right one. And you have to answer these 2 questions. How does the y change? So the y is going to be the right value. The y goes from 2, and then it goes to -1. So how's that changing? Well, from 2 to -1, that you're doing -3. So how does the y change? It goes -3. Now the second question is, how does the x change? We start at the left one and go to the right one. 0 to 2, how is that changing? Well, it's going +2. So it's going to be 2 on the bottom. So the slope is -3/2. Just like we got, these are the same points here when we graph the line. So it's 2 different ways of doing this. Some classes will teach you with the formula, and if you want to know that, I'll teach it to you. But I think it's better just to think of it as the change of y over change of x, instead of relying on a formula. Y-intercept is another part of writing in slope-intercept form. What is that? Well, it's where a graph crosses the y-axis. So I have this green line right here. So this is a graph of that green line, and it's crossing the y-axis. Y-axis is right here, goes up and down, and it's crossing at the y-intercept at 0, 5. So the y-intercept right here is actually 5. Now for this purple line, it's going left and right, it's crossing the y-intercept, the point right there on the y-intercept is 0, -5, so we call the y-intercept -5. So that's just where it crosses the y-axis. Now slope-intercept form, here's the equation, make sure you write this down. Y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope, which is your rise over run, a change in y over change in x, and then your b is what we call the y-intercept. So if that point for the y-intercept is at 0, 5, we put b is going to equal 5. So let's try an example of that. So before I do that, how do I graph with the slope-intercept form equation? So I'm going to do an example right here, and I got 4 steps. So here's my example. You want to write this out. So the 4 steps, the first thing you have to do is figure out what your m and b is. So your m is your slope, and that's just going to be the coefficient of the x. So that's going to be 4/3. And your b is going to be the number on the outside. That's +3, so it's going to be +3. Now, I found those 2 key points, the slope and the y-intercept. I want to plot the y-intercept. And since the y-intercept is 3, you do it as an ordered pair where your x is always going to be 0, but your y value is going to be whatever b is. So 0, 3. And I'm going to plot that point at 0, 3. And I'm going to label that 0, 3. So it's really nice to put a label like this so I know you know what the point is. Don't just put a dot there. Now next thing is use the slope to plot a second point. So my rise over run here is going to be 4/3, your slope. So that means you start at this point for the y-intercept, and I'm going to be going up 4. So I'm going to go up 4 and over 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 3. 1, 2, 3. So my second point is going to be right here. And what are the coordinates of that point? Look at that carefully. It looks like it's going to be 3, 7. So I plotted my second point. And now that I got 2 points, you can always draw a line between 2 points. So I'm going to draw a perfectly straight line through those 2 points. Now when you draw that line, make sure you put arrowheads, because it's not just, because that means the line keeps going on forever. So I'm going to put these little arrowheads on each end that says, hey, the line keeps going in both directions forever. All right, let's try some examples. So pause the video here. Okay, what is the slope between the 2 points? So we have 2 points. And the slope is, your slope is going to be the change in y over change in x. So change in y over change in x. So how is y changing? Well, it's going from 5 to 8, and that's going to be going up 3, so positive 3. Change in x. Well, my x is going from 3 to 5, and 3 to 5 it's going up 2, so positive 2. My slope is 3/2. I can't reduce that. That's it. Let's check the bottom one. So the slope, change of y over change of x, so my slope is going from 8 to 5. So the y is going from 8 to 5. It's going down 3, so my change in y is minus 3. And then for the x values here, we're going from 5 to 3, and this is going down 2, so it's negative 2. So I have negative 3 over negative 2. I can reduce that. If it's negative divided by negative, those negatives cancel, and it's just 3/2. One thing to note, these are both the same points. I just flipped the order. So we got the same slope for both of them, which we should have. It doesn't matter as long as you're always consistent going from one point to the other, one point to the other. So it doesn't matter which order you do it in, they're both going to end up with the same slope. All right, try these examples. All right, what is the slope and y-intercept for the equation? So for the first one, your slope m is going to be 5, and your y-intercept b is going to be 2. The next one, your slope is going to be negative 5, and your y-intercept, since it's minus 2, it's negative 2. The last one, your slope is going to be 3/2, and your y-intercept is going to be 1. All right, move on. Pause the video. All right, write an equation of a line with a slope of 6 and a y-intercept at 0, negative 7. So those are our 2 key points here. If I have a slope of 6, that means my m equals 6. And y-intercept of negative 7, it means my b equals negative 7. So I can write that equation as y equals m, so 6x, plus b, so I'll say minus 7. And that's your answer. Last one. Pause the video. Okay, we want to graph the equation. First thing, I've got to figure out what my m and b is. My m is going to be 1/2, and my b is going to be 2. So I want to plot this y-intercept. Since b is 2, my y-intercept happens right on the y-axis at 2. I'm going to label that 0, 2. The next thing I'm going to do is I got to find a second point. I'm going to use my slope, which is 1 over 2. So that means I go up 1, I go up 1, and I go over 1, 2. So there's going to be a point right here. So that's my second point, and I'm going to label it. It's going to be 2, 3. And now your last step, I want to draw a line perfectly straight. And you want to use a straight edge ruler when you do these. Don't just freehand it. It should be a perfectly straight line through those points. And make sure you do the arrowheads. Just like this. And that's it.